Hey there, quick disclaimer for this video. My voice is rough as I have a head cold that I have not quite been able to get over yet. So just know that probably throughout the course of this video, my voice will slowly but surely deteriorate. But I hope you all still are able to enjoy my thoughts on Nick Fury. Hey there, today I finally get to talk about Nick Fury and his S.H.I.E.L.D. agents now that we have a pretty good grasp on how the grunt rules work. My name is Nate, and welcome to the Gamers Guild. So in this video, I'm going to be doing my normal review of going over a character's card, the pros and cons, but I'm also going to be doing an overview of the grunt's rules because these are brand new to the game, and you may not know how they are going to work on the table. And there are some things to know as far as restrictions as well as possibilities. But before I get into all of that, I want to give a couple of shout outs to the guild sponsors, Tritex Games based in the EU and War Room Hobbies based here in Tennessee. Both are great local gaming stores that are having game nights and events at their stores and are supporting their local communities. So if you're shopping online anyways, please consider using them as an option to support an LGS instead of a big warehouse company like Amazon. And to help beat those prices, I have some codes that will save you even more off of their already discounted prices. If you use the code TRITEXGGCP5 at checkout, you'll save an extra 5% off of Tritex's MCP selection, and if you check out at War Room Hobbies, you can use the code MCP2022 for an extra 10% off of your order. And even though we don't have a release date yet, Nick Fury, Daredevil, and Elektra are now up for pre-order with the previously mentioned discounts. But if you are already shopping from your LGS, that's awesome, keep supporting them, we understand. But are still wanting a way to support the guild's videos or podcasts, check out our Patreon page. For as little as $1 a month or $12 a year, you help us continue to put out content for Marvel Crisis Protocol as a podcast and here on YouTube. We also have a monthly giveaway thanks to Tritex. All you need to do to enter is be subscribed to the channel and leave a comment on a video the same month that that video was released. And now with all of that said and done, let's start with Nick Fury, who has the alter ego of, well, Nicholas J. Fury Jr. He has 6 stamina, moves medium, is size 2 and 4 threat. He has 4 physical and mystic defense with 3 energy defense. So all in all, not a bad lineup for his base stats durability stuff. He also has 3 physical attacks. The first is the Fury Special. It has a range of 3, strength of 5, and costs nothing. After the attack is resolved, Fury gains a guaranteed power, and on a wild, the attack gains Pierce, letting you change one of your opponent's crits, wilds, or blocks into a blank. So, a nice builder that can deal some damage at range that guarantees the power, which is really nice. His second attack is a Tactical Knife, has a range of 2, strength of 5, also for no power. This one will gain him power equal to the damage dealt. And if you roll a wild, you get to apply both the bleed condition to the target as well as trigger the pierce. And then finally we have lead from the front. This attack has a range of 3, strength of 7 for 3 power. Additionally, after the attack is resolved, if you have a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent team within range 3 of Fury, they may advance short toward the target of the attack, and then the agents get to make a 4-die attack with a reroll targeting that character. So basically, this attack has a weaker rapid fire attached to it. But still, 3 power for 2 attacks is a pretty good deal. I'll come back to the leadership ability at the end of the video, so that I'm going to just head into Fury's superpowers. And there are really only 2, and they both deal with the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. First is the active Call in the Cavalry. It costs 2 and really can only be useful if you have no S.H.I.E.L.D. agents or other grunts in play. You may then place a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent character within 3 of Fury with an activated token, and it may immediately interact with an extraction objective token. The Fury's innate Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. lets S.H.I.E.L.D. agents within range 3 of him reroll 1 attack or defense dice when attacking or defending. And as a bonus, Fury gains 1 power when the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents take or deal damage. But they still do have to be within range 3 for Fury to get his power. Which really the only things he will be doing with it are his spender and bringing in more S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. It is worth noting that Fury only has 5 stamina on his injured side, but that is the only change. Which leads us to the grunts. So let's start with the rules for all the grunts that we have. Grunts will activate in the same turn as their parent, and notably before their parent. If all of the grunt's parent characters are dazed, add an activated token to the grunt character. And if all grunt's parents are KO'd or removed from the game, remove the grunt from play. You can only have one allied grunt on the table at a time. If a grunt would be dazed or flip its stat card, it is KO'd instead. And grunts don't gain power, cannot play team tactic cards, and cannot be chosen by the effects of an allied team tactic card. They are deployed on the table at the same time their parent character is deployed, but maybe the most interesting of all these rules is that at the start of a player's turn, if all parent characters that a player controls have activated, all grunt characters then gain an activated token. And while this doesn't matter to Fury, it might if you have Elektra and Daredevil out, and their ninjas might be able to see 2 activations as long as they live long enough. But I'm waiting for a rule forum ruling before stating that that's going to be how that works. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent's stat card. These grunts will have 2 stamina, move medium on a 50mm base, are size 2, and have a very low 1 on all of their defenses. Their only attack is pistols. It is a physical attack with a range of 3, strength of 4 for no power. So nothing to really get excited about, but the reroll near Fury will help buff it quite nicely. They then have 3 innate powers. First is Buy You Time. When this character drops an objective token, its controlling player places it on the battlefield instead of their opponent, which can be extremely frustrating to your opponent, as it probably puts the objective not only not close enough to be picked up by the character that just dazed you, but also closer to allied forces for an easy pickup. Second is S.H.I.E.L.D. Operatives. It says this character cannot contest secure objective tokens, and it does not have to pay when interacting with civilian or asset tokens. Notably, this does also mean that they still can contest extraction objectives like Research Station. Then finally, they have the innate grunt power and are attached to Nick Fury. So now finally, with Fury and his agents covered, let's talk about the things that are going to want to gravitate towards and the things that they probably want to shy away from. If nothing else, Fury has a pretty nice array of attacks. Range 3 with a Pierce is nice to be outside of martial artist range to make that Pierce hurt, and a guaranteed power is a wonderful thing. If Nick ends within range 2, Pierce and a Bleed on a Wild is nice as well. His Spender, though, is actually really nice, as long as everything is lined up for the agents to get a shot with a reroll. It's a nice double tap for just 3 power, but it does require a bit of setup, but thankfully not very much. Now, the thing that could bump Fury over the edge in damage output is basically an extra 2 attacks coming from his S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, in addition to anything else. But the problem is, I'm not sure how often they'll be on the board to activate. Sure, they start on the board turn 1, so they easily get an activation then, but once they are killed off, they only come back when Nick calls in the cavalry, and they come in with an activation token. And since these poor guys only have 2 stamina and 1 defense dice, it seems likely that they are often going to be very easy to remove. And even when you do have them, I don't think 2 pistol shots is always going to be what you want to do with them. Their ability to instantly pick up an objective is going to be handy when you call them in, but it is also unfortunate because they can't then move to safety. I think more than likely a great role for S.H.I.E.L.D. agents is going to be having them get an objective and moving to safely securing some victory points on the back of the board. But that does mean that Fury takes a hit to his overall damage output, especially if the agents make it to safety in the back of the board, because then Fury's Spender is just 7 dice for 3 power. So all in all here, the pros are Fury's potential damage output. Possibly getting a max of 6 attacks for 6 power is really hardly anything to scoff at. But often that's just not going to be the case. Fury can still pack a decent punch without the help of his grunts, but he will be hitting closer to what a 3 threat can pack, which brings me to the cons. Outside of some better defenses, if Nick didn't have his agents, he would be a very average and boring 3 threat character. It doesn't have any board control, pushes, or throws, no crazy extract shenanigans, and no consistency on either offense or defense from superpowers. Now, granted, through his S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, he becomes a very interesting character for some extract plays. Heck, I mean, even just grabbing both hammers on turn 1 with Nick on one side and the agents on the other is going to be really annoying to your opponent. But if Fury's team is getting targeted down, he's going to have some issues. But thankfully, his own leadership has an answer to that. Last line of defense says, if you have fewer VPs than your opponent, the first time each round an allied character is dazed or KO'd by an enemy effect, after the effect is resolved, score 1 victory point. So this is a great catch-up mechanic, and we should all consider ourselves lucky that it is only limited to once per round, because otherwise it would be difficult to really ever keep a lead against S.H.I.E.L.D. The second part of the leadership says, if you have an equal number of or more victory points than your opponent, when an enemy character damages an allied character with an attack, the allied character may spend a power to advance toward the attacking character's short after the attack is resolved. So this is just Sabretooth's, Crossbones, or She-Hulk's ability made for everyone. Thankfully, it does at least cost a power because out-of-turn movement is really good, even if your opponent has some agency in it. The affiliation is full of 3-threat characters that we know of so far thanks to AMG's sneak peek pictures. Taskmaster, Winter Soldier, I'm assuming both Black Widows, Hawkeye, Iron Man, and War Machine, as well as She-Hulk as a heavy hitter. But they also have a very unique ability to recruit any one character and count them as a S.H.I.E.L.D. affiliated member with the Initiative tactic card. But going wide probably leans into Fury's first part of the leadership, getting to stay close on victory points quite easily, even if he is just feeding his S.H.I.E.L.D. agents to the enemy team. But it also means that your opponent will be having to make tough choices about giving you a victory point by dazing or KOing a character, especially if it's in the later rounds of an already close game. So S.H.I.E.L.D. will be great at asking your opponent questions without you really having to do much thinking during the game time, but really just trying to remember maybe all your different triggers that Nick's going to be giving you. The last thing I want to mention in passing are the crazy number of tactic cards that this box comes with. 10. It's a full 10. And I'm not going to talk about all of them, but for a highlight reel here. S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting their own personalized med pack that is even better, but it can only be played by affiliated teammates. And very interestingly, it can't be taken alongside normal med pack. But that also means you are freeing up one of those valuable restricted team tactic card slots. S.H.I.E.L.D. Mobile letting an affiliated character move long for 3 power is really good, especially when you consider that anyone can be affiliated. And I've already talked about how Reposition can score you 4 victory points turn 1 in a video from a couple of weeks ago, so that might be worth checking out if you love your turn 1 shenanigans. And because this is my first review of any Parent and Grunt characters, and just as a very, very quick take at the end, I just want to say while Grunts are still very new to MCP, and I could very easily over or underestimate them, but for the moment, I think I'm just whelmed by them. They will certainly add some new play patterns into the game, but I don't think they're even close to a must-have. So this box is really going to shake things up a bit, and I'm very interested to see how consistent S.H.I.E.L.D. can be with their built-in catch-up system for victory points, and their ability to drop anyone in as an affiliated team member. But that is all I have for today. If you have enjoyed my thoughts and are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button for a weekly dose of MCP content in the form of reviews, battle reports, and you can also find the Gamer Guild podcast on several different podcast apps and platforms. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, keep on gaming.